Today we're going to assess snowshoe hare habitat quality. You can assess habitat a variety of ways, but a really simple way is to just look at the abundance of an animal, and there's lots of ways we can estimate abundance, and compare that to the vegetation composition and structure. So today we're going to assess snowshoe hare habitat. Snowshoe hares are a critical food source for things like goshawks and lynx. So understanding their abundance is important for forest management. So today what we're going to do is, I've already laid out this 30-meter transect, and we're going to take 5 different samples along that transect. So every 5 meters, I'm going to lay down this 1 by 1 meter quadrat, and we're going to count the number of pellets that are inside that. Then we're going to look to the side, and we're going to estimate the horizontal cover of vegetation in that spot. All right, so we've laid down our 1 by 1 meter frame at 10 meters. And we're going to estimate, again, the abundance of snowshoe hares by counting these snowshoe hare pellets. So these are the little poops, and you can see that in these pine needles, there's little tiny pellets. So we know the hares have been here. What we don't know is whether or not they're using this habitat in the winter time or the summertime. So what we're going to do is we're going to count all these pellets, and that gives us our estimate of density. And then to estimate winter and summer habitat, we're going to use this cover board. Okay, so this is a cover board, and what it is, it's this checkerboard, and today it's orange and blue, but the colors really don't matter. What matters is that there are 7 squares on each side, and so there's 49, 7 by 7, 49 squares on this board. What we're going to do is we're going to lay it at the surface to look at what the snowshoe hares see in the summertime, and then we're going to put it up high at 2 meters to estimate what the snowshoe hares see in the wintertime when there's a whole bunch of snow. We're up at 8,500 feet elevation. There's a couple meters of snow in the winter. So I'm going to have Justin help us out. Now, it's real important. What he's going to do is he's going to walk in a perpendicular line to the transect. So my transect is running at 150 degrees. He's going to shoot a bearing using his compass. He's going to shoot a bearing of 50 degrees, right? So 140 minus 50 is 90. And he's doing this so that we don't bias our measurements. If he didn't actually shoot the bearing and he just simply walked 8 meters out to the side of the tape, he might just naturally select an area where there's not a lot of brush to contend with, right? We're all humans. We don't like crashing through the brush. But by shooting this bearing, he keeps himself honest. So now what he's going to do is, once he gets that established, he's going to set that bunny board right at the ground surface. And he's putting it right in the center of the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crouch down. Again, this is what the bunny is seeing in the summertime. So I'm going to lay down and I'm going to count the number of squares that I can see. And I'm keeping track of half squares. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 solid squares that I can see. And it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 half squares. And so that's, what is that, 6 plus 5, it'd be 11 squares. So if we take 11 divided by 49, that's going to give us the percent horizontal cover. So that's the summer habitat. Now to assess the winter habitat, Justin's using this 2-meter pole, and he's going to set that on top of the pole. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to count the number of squares. In this case, it might be easier to subtract the number of squares that are obscured. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 9, so 49 minus 9 would be 40. We'll divide that by 49 to get the percent cover that the bunny sees in winter. Now ideally, I would be 2 meters tall. I'm not, so there's a little bit of wiggle there, but we're trying to be at the same eye level as the board. Okay, so we just finished sample number 1, and so we counted the number of pellets. We're going to fill that out here at the top of the column. We estimated the number of squares at 2 meters height, and we'll put that in the second row. And then we estimated the number of squares at the ground level, and that'll go here. So all those 3 things together make up sample number 1. Now we're going to move down the line and collect sample number 2, sample number 3, 4, and 5 at those 5, 10, and 15 meter increments along our transect. Okay, so now we're at 20 meters along our transect. We're collecting another sample. This sample site is a nice demonstration of what poor habitat looks like. So we've laid down our frame. I haven't found any bunny pellets. And if we look up to where Justin is with our cover board, our horizontal cover board, you can see all of the squares. So for a snowshoe hare, there's very little cover to hide from predators and to thermoregulate. That's both in the summer and in the winter time. So now that we've got a whole bunch of samples across these different gradients, we've got some plots that have a lot of high cover, some that have low cover. We're going to take this data back to the lab and we're going to plot the correlation between bunny pellets, the abundance of the lagomorphs, and the horizontal cover adjacent to those sites.